There it is. Today's the day. Right outside the Poker studio, walking in right now, boba in hand, feeling good. This is event number 1 of the Poker Masters. You think about like Masters in golf, this is the Masters for poker. All of the stars are out, Negreanu, Chance, all the good players, Foxen, everyone that's just better than me. So I'm here to compete, doing it in the good name of content. What's cool is I also won a satellite. We'll be buying it for like $1,100, or basically $1,100 in a 10K seat. So that'll be really cool. First time playing in the Poker Masters, and let's hop in right now. $10,000 buy-in. Let's see the sights and sounds. As you can see, got some B-roll of the trophies of the purple jacket, which is equivalent to like the green jacket in golf. That's awarded to the winner of the entire event. It's like 12 different tournaments, ranging from $10,000 to a $50,000 buy-in. I'll be playing this one. I'm gonna play event number 1 for now, see how it goes. Dip my toes into the waters here amongst all the sharks and see if I can run good. That's really all that matters. Win my all-ins, it'll be fun. Entering event number 1 of the Poker Masters event, I set a table amongst crushers and with 125,000 chips starting. This hand in level 5, I pick up 10-8 of spades in the hijack and I raise it up to 8,000. Get the button and big blind to call, and we're going to a flop of 9-8 high, 2 spades and a heart. So flopping middle pair and a flush draw, action's going to check around. When the turn comes, the 9 of hearts brings in a backdoor flush draw as well, and when the big blind checks over to me, definitely have a decision to bet or check, and in game with a pair and flush draw here, when the flop action checks around, I decided to bet on the larger side, 23,000. In hindsight, potentially just a mistake. Think I can just check this a lot of time with so much equity, but here we are. I bet 23,000 and the button makes the call, and now the big blind goes all in. This is why my hand shouldn't really be betting much on the turn here and prefers checking, because all of a sudden I am now in a terrible, terrible situation. My hand has tons of equity, and even against a 9, my flush draw is good here, but I just hate betting out here on this turn. I hate being in this situation, but let's try to do some math in the real time here. I have 80,000 behind my bets, so with about 176,000 in the middle, I'm getting a little more than 3-1 on a call, and getting 3-1 on a call roughly means I need 25% equity. And pair plus flush draw, given my stack depth, this isn't really a hand I want to call, but I gotta gamble. It's early in the tournament, you gotta run good to win these anyways, so I stick it in, the button folds, and the big blind shows King 9 of clubs, does have trip 9s, and let's see a river, please. River is a 10. That doesn't help me out in the slightest. So right off the bat, on to bullet number 2. The start of the second bullet gets a little bit better, winning some hands at non-showdown, and what's cool is that D-Neg sits on my right now. The legend himself sitting right next to me, part of the vlog, and let's get diving into the hands here. I pick up 8s in early position, I raise it up to 11,000, and I get 3-bet by Cole on my left. Folds back to me, I'm sitting a tad under 30 big blinds. It's a little bit of an annoying spot, and think that sometimes I can go all in to make my life easy, but I do want to just make the call here. It saves a lot of chips on some bad flops, so I make the call. Flop comes queen 10, 3, 2 clubs. Yep, that is the epitome of a bad flop for 8s. I check, he bets 18,000, and I fold. Moving on to the next hand, ace 5 of clubs in the big blind. Early position player Sean Winter opens it up 10,000. Hijack makes the call on a 13 big blind stack, and I decide to call here, not going to go all in or squeeze. Very good playability. We're off to a flop of 9-8-4, 2 diamonds and a club. Complete brick city for me. Action's gonna check around to the turn, which is the deuce of spades, so I've improved to a straight draw now. I check, Sean Winter bets out huge, and action's gonna go fold. So once again, not a whole lot going on here in this second bullet. Now onto the next one, I have queen 10 of clubs on only 14 big blinds as the blinds have increased. I raise it up to 12,000 as a min raise. The cutoff player, Sean Winter, goes all in for 130,000. Another annoying spot. It's a hand that I can raise fold. So I'm gonna fold this one. Now down to 12 big blinds before the very next deal. I'm in +1 with 10-9 of spades. 12 big blinds and a dream with 75,000 chips. I'm going to go all in here with the hand that performs really, really well.
I immediately get called by the player to my left. Oh, let's see a run out.
One of your favorite hands, ace five of hearts.
Why is that one of my favorite hands? It's nowhere in the air. Pretty boring flop.
Yeah, it's not very anticlimactic. Still have to record it, sadly. Nice hand, man. One of these days I'm going to run good in a 10K. Today was really frustrating. I just had to fold every time. Even the first bullet, when I bet the 10-8 suited, I think I have to fold that, even though I had so much equity. But I was stubborn, I didn't fold, and then every other spot, I basically just had to fold. There's a lot of spots. I open a good enough hand to raise, and then I run into resistance, and I have to fold. When you don't pick up premiums, you don't win your all-ins, then you lose. But I'll be back tomorrow. There's the next 10K. It'll be the tournament that I'll have to show up on time with because my chips will be in play immediately. There's that. Let's just try to run good tomorrow. I'll see you guys in about 20 hours or so. All right, 24 hours later, this is the final table of event number 1 that I had no shot in making. But today's event number 2, this is where I try to spin an $1,100 satellite ticket into something fun. Who knows? Let's get into it. We're starting up early, level 1. Let's get into some of the hands.
All right, time to rebound. The next day, we're in event number 2, restarting level 2 now. I have pocket jacks, and I raise it up to 3,500. I get some action here as the small blind and big blind decide to call, and we're off to a flop of Jack 3 deuce. Flopping top set, a new day, a new tournament, and we're running hot. Action checks to me, and considering we're playing about 100 big blinds deep, definitely trying to build a pot, so I bet out 3,000, just praying someone connected with this board, and I get the small blind player to make the call, so I do get some action, and when the turn comes the deuce, and you know what's also really cool? My opponent leads out for 10,000. What a dream spot with top full house. I mean, what else can you ask for? I hit a full house and then my opponent leads? I think I'm gonna let her just continue bluffing off if she doesn't have anything, or just continue value betting. Don't need to scare her away as I'm in position in this, so I make the call and hoping to get stacks in on the river. When the river comes, the 7 of hearts, the backdoor flush draw gets there, and I am simply praying for my opponent to have pocket 7s or a flush now. And maybe she does have that because she bets again, 30,000 into the middle this time, and I have such an easy decision. My opponent has about 55,000 in her stack, and I take the full 30 seconds to act here, a little bit of Hollywooding, of course, and then put her all in. Now I put my opponent into the tank with my top full house. Of course, I'm praying for a call. I essentially just have the nuts. My opponent uses 3 time chips, so a minute 30 goes by before she decides on a call. Let's go. I have the nuts, and I win this one, of course. I show my hand, and she ends up having black pocket 5s, so it was a non-believer, and finally winning a massive pot in this big tournament here. What a hot start in event number 2. Shortly later into the day, we see that Jeremy Osmus ends up actually winning event number 1, the tournament that I busted very, very quickly in, but he wins in the middle of the room. The lights are going crazy, so big shout out to him for winning this one. Progressing to level 6 now at this point, blinds have increased, and I pick up ace 6 offsuit in the big blind. The cutoff player opens up the action at $10,000 off of about 25 big blinds. His name's Sergio Ido. He's quite a good player. Anyways, I'm in the big blind and I will defend an offsuit ace here. So going to a flop of queen 9-7 rainbow, not a whole lot going for me, but action's actually gonna go check, check. And we see a turn, which comes the 8 of diamonds. Brings in a backdoor flush draw, and I think there's sometimes merit to leading here on this card. Maybe can check raise now that I'm open-ended with a bad open-ender, but action actually goes check, check once again. Now to the river, which comes a 5, which is pretty damn sick. Any 6 makes a straight. I definitely have more 6s, and I actually have one in my hand, which is nice. So for that reason, with a big hand, I decided to bet big, close to the size of the pot of 27.5K. And after all this passive action here, flop and turn, my opponent is a non-believer, ends up making the call, and I'm gonna win this one with a straight. Nice to get paid off here with a big hand and win versus one of the best. This next hand, I get involved with Sergio once again. I'm in early position with ace 10 offsuit, raises up to 10,000. The button, Sergio jams his 40,000 into the middle, which is basically 10 big blinds, and definitely not going to be folding once I raise. I call for 8 more big blinds, and my opponent has pocket fours. The nuts. Time to crack my own hand, and the flop gives me trips. Pretty sick spots, and I end up actually boating up on the river. So nice to scoop up more chips here, knock out an opponent, and things are going quite smoothly here in this event so far.
All right, 2 levels have come and gone. I actually picked up a lot of big hands in those 2 levels. End of late reg now, I have over 300,000. It's nice to win hands. It's nice to bet for value, and those are all great. Let's just keep it up. I don't know. Let's keep running good. I'm running good right now. It's a good feeling finally in a 10K buy-in. I've played in a handful and I haven't been able to run good yet. So maybe this will be the day. Who knows?
After break, blinds have increased. We're level 7, and I'm on the button here where action starts on the hijack player, raises to 13,000 off of 250K effective. The cutoff player next to act, Eric Seidel, goes all in for 68,000, and now it's my turn to look at my cards, and I peel Ace Jack. All right, facing an 11 big blind jam, I think I just have to be in here. I do have to be a little bit cautious of the hijack player who raised pre-flop, but he certainly can have a lot of weak hands and hands that don't really like to be in here. So I decided to call the 11 big blind shove, praying that the hijack doesn't actually have a premium here. And when the hijack folds, we get to go heads up all in. Cutoff has Queen 10 of hearts. I'm ahead, but he has 40% equity. Let's win a flip. End up fading all of his outs and chipping up. Once again, stacking an opponent and winning these easy all-ins. Things are just going really well for me up until this point. And this next hand, we're in level 8 now, and I have 8, 9 of spades on the big blind. There's a hijack open to 16,000 off of about 14 big blinds. Action folds to me, and I actually kind of want to go all in sometimes, but I opted on a call. It seems to make the most sense. We're going to a flop of 8, 7, 7, 2 clubs. Pretty sick spot with top pair. Basically, in my mind, I think I have to commit stacks regardless of what happens, but when I check, my opponent just goes all in. What? I need a count, dealer. The count comes 118,000. My opponent just shoves 2x the size of the pot. This is not what I had in mind about committing stacks, to be honest with you, but I think my hand is way too good to fold at this stack depth. When you're playing at about 14 big blinds deep, when you flop a pair, you just have to go all in. And I have top pair, so I don't know. Trying to figure out hands that might want to play for value in this way, and it's hard to find them. So too good to fold at the stack depth. I make the call, and my opponent has ace 4 of clubs. No club, one freaking time. This pot is getting pretty significant here, and the turns and rivers are clean. End up winning this one, and all of a sudden, after winning some all-ins, my chip stack is almost at 500,000 now, and just steamrolling my way through this tournament, stacking opponents, and moving on to the next hand with ace queen offsuit in the cutoff. Another premium, I raise it up to 17,000. I get the player to my left with about 300,000 chips making the call here, so maybe we can play for stacks. Everyone else folds, and the flop comes ace 9 deuce rainbow. Definitely having a mixed strat here on a very dry and disconnected board. I decided on a check in this specific spot, and my opponent checks back. Now going to a turn, which comes a 9. It's not the best card in the world, as middle pair that would have checked on this flop turns into trips. So out of position, I decided to check once again, and my opponent now checks back. When he checks back a second time, pretty confident I have the best hand, and we're off to the river, which comes a king. Pretty great card for my range, pretty great card that my opponent could also just have king high. And for those reasons, I decided to bet really big, 55,000. Betting close to the size of the pot here, I think I can get any king to call, and I guess I'll have to get an ace to call as well, but also have plenty of bluffs like jack highs, 10 highs, queen highs. When I bet out this sizing, my opponent tanks, uses a time chip, and ends up calling. There we go. We get the value we wanted. I show, and it's going to win this one. Things are going well into break now.
All right, it's getting close. I have above average stack. There's 27 players left. 11 make the money. Everyone is good now. There are no bad players. Everyone is elite. Everyone's very solid. I am just trying to figure it out along the way. I have above average stack, which is fine, 550,000. Average stack is around 350,000. All right, let's get into it.
All right, now after break into level 10, the next significant hand, we're getting closer and closer to approaching the money bubble. And I pick up pocket sevens in the hijack, raise it up to 26,000. Action folds around to the big blind. He thinks about his decision for a while and he shoves. I ask for a count. It's a total of 175,000, a little under 15 big blinds, and with sevens, I just get to call this one off as my opponent will certainly have worse pocket pairs or a bunch of overcards that we'll be flipping against. And he has pocket queens somehow. Oh no. But it doesn't matter. The flop comes a 7. Oh my God. Every single pot is so significant at this stage of the tournament. And sucking out in this fashion is unreal. Fade the queen on the turn and river and needed to suck out so bad. All of a sudden now I have over 600,000 in chips with 19 players remain. This is going to be a sweat. In the same level, I pick up another interesting hand with king 10 offsuit in the cutoff. I raise it up to 27,000 and I get the small blind and big blind to call. Flop comes pretty good for my hand. It's 10 deuce deuce. So top pair, pretty good kicker. The blinds check it over to me and I decide to bet pretty small on the board where I won't really connect much on. I bet 20,000. I get the small blind to make the call and now action onto the big blind who's Sam Soverell. He ends up check raising to 48,000. Really, really suspicious here as it's such a small raise and my opponent only has about 70,000 behind. So he's playing really short stacked and yeah, I'm kind of confused as to what he could have here. Maybe considering he's in the big blind, he can have a deuce, but I think I'm putting him on worse tens a lot of the time. Anyways, I can't fold top pair, especially for only 28,000 more. So I make the call. Don't think I need to go all in yet. And the small blind ends up getting out of the way and folds. Now going to a turn which comes in 8. My opponent bets out 48,000 again, leaving about 30,000 chips behind. I'm really confused as to what's going on here, but I have such a good hand. I only lose to 10-8 or I guess a deuce in some fashion. So here we are. I decide to put my opponent all in. He snap calls with king deuce. Damn it, such a bad flop. My opponent holds. I can't suck out and find one of the last two tens in the deck. And I lose this one, double up my opponent, riding the highs and lows in the variance of tournament poker here. I'm back down to about 530,000. Here we see some updates. There are 16 players left in the tournament, 11 players pay. And after a little bit, we move on to the final 2 tables of the tournament, 14 players left, and we're 3 away from the money.
All right, things are getting pretty sweaty here. It's nighttime. We started this video in the daytime. 13 players left now. We're on a soft bubble. 2 players left to make the money, or 2 people need a bust. There's 4 big blind stack at the table. I'm praying he busts soon. Also, what's not great is that Foxen and Adrian Mateos is on my table. Fuck, it's gonna be a tough one. Everyone's really, really good. Those 2 are exceptionally very, very good. Oh, and Steven Chidwick on my left. It's ridiculous. It's a stack table for sure. And there's that. Hoping to make it. Just gotta fold a lot. And hopefully there's no highlights, honestly, between now and when we make the money, because that means I don't play any hands and I coast into the money. That is the goal.
After the break, we see an all-in, pocket kings versus ace jack. Kings is going to win, and all of a sudden now we are hand for hand on the stone bubble of this tournament, and I have about 600,000 in my stack. Trying to navigate and find a way to not bust in the stone bubble. I'm not trying to play hands, but when I peel aces, oh my goodness. This is a hand I don't want to bust on. I raise it up to 50,000 because it's aces on the stone bubble. It's a little scary. Action folds to the button player who covers me, which is important to note, and he 3-bets me to 130,000. Action folds to me, and in my head, I'm thinking right now that my opponent could be doing this a little bit light, considering it's on the stone bubble. I have a pretty short stack. So for those reasons, I decided to not re-raise or do anything crazy. I decided to just make the call, set the trap here, and we're going to a flop, which comes queen high with all spades. This is where things are going to get scary because I don't have a spade in my hand. Action's going to go check, check on this flop, which is fine. Happy to control the size of the pot here. The turn is a middling card that doesn't really change the board at all. I check for a second time and my opponent bets 60,000. Okay, raising is out of the question. I guess I'm happy with the small sizing here on this turn. I just don't want to see a spade at all in this river, so I make the call. The river comes another middling card that doesn't change the board at all. I check for a third time. My opponent bets 80,000. And yeah, as played, I just can't raise. It doesn't make any sense. So I just make the call once again, and I see disaster. My opponent has pocket kings somehow. So my opponent finds a way to not get coolered and lose all of his chips, aces versus kings. And disaster for me because I don't double up, but I still pick up a good pile of chips. But yeah, this is, I guess, a very interesting hand to note and report on because it just shows how crazy different hands will play or how I will play hands differently because we're on the bubble of this big tournament. But it might have costed me here because I don't get a full double up. But now 2 deals later, I pick up another interesting spot. I'm in the big blind with ace-jack offsuit. Action folds to Foxen on the button, and he raises up to 50,000 as the chip leader. He's raising almost 100%, and this hand with ace-jack offsuit, I'm gonna have to see a flop with at least. I just don't wanna commit stacks in here. So I make the call, and the flop comes ace-jack high. Oh my God. This is definitely a spot that I'm very happy to see. Still, committing a lot of chips in the middle on the stone bubble is scary, so I check it over to my opponent, and Foxen bets out small. Definitely a spot where I could consider check raising sometimes, but this board texture isn't one that I will do that too often, so for those reasons, I decided on just make the call. Happy to keep the pot small, I guess even with a strong hand on the stone bubble. The turn comes the queen of spades, and action's actually gonna go check, check here. So feeling okay about it, but until the river comes the 7 of spades. So the backdoor flush draw completes. I don't really want to put a bunch of money in the middle, so I check it over to Foxen, who bets out 155,000. All right, it's a big bet, but I have a good hand. Let's see what he's got. I make the call, and he shows ace-8. My 2 pair beats 1 pair, and all of a sudden, after the aces hand in this one, this has been a very, very good bubble for me. I have over 1 million in chips until this next hand that we're gonna see. Negreanu is all in with ace-8. If he busts, we are now into the money, and he cracks jacks. Negreanu finds a way to double. You can't kill this guy. He's back in the tournament, finding a full double up, and we are still on the bubble. Progressing to level 14 now with over 1 million in my stack. I have pocket 10s. Can we burst the bubble here this hand? I'm in the cutoff, and Foxen opens it up to 60,000. I decided to just make the call here, be a little bit more passive as, you know, Foxen covers me. I want to be passive with a good hand. I'm happy to see a flop. I call the 60,000, and action folds to Adrian Mateos. He's a short stack in the big blind. He uses a time extension chip and then essentially moves all in. Commits his entire stack, and when Foxen folds, I look at his stack. It's a hair more than 300,000, which is only 10 big blinds. I'm definitely never folding here. Let's burst this bubble ourselves against one of the best. I go all in, commit his stack, and he makes the call with king, queen of spades. Let's win the flip, please. I faded all on the river. He had so many outs after the turn, and just like that, we bust Adrian Mateos. How, like, what? Literally one of the best players in the world right now, and I win a flip off of him, and to burst the bubble, everyone left is now in the money, and my chip stack's pretty massive, over 1.6 million, but there's not much time to celebrate because the next hand, let's get involved. I pick up 8s, and Chidwick on my left opens it up to 60,000. I go all in, and he makes the call with a short stack of about 12 big blinds. It's 8s versus ace queen of spades. Let's go. The flop comes ace high, but also with an 8. Yeah, flopping sets is gonna beat top pair, and I knock out another amazing opponent. Things are getting ridiculous, and once again, no time to celebrate. A few hands later, I pick up kings, I raise on the button, the big blind goes all in, and snap call. We're up against ace, queen. Let's win another all in, and boom. Yeah, that's it. Was there ever a doubt? When you win 2 all-ins in a row, you're guaranteed to win the third. And yeah, just like that, after a very wild turn of events, I am now one of the chip leaders of the tournament, and there are 9 players left, and we've made it to the final table. Who would have thought? The first all-in of this final table, we see ace 5 beating ace 6. D-Negs had the ace 6 and gets sucked out on, where they would have chopped a lot of the time. But now when D-Negs is short, that leads to this hand where Negreanu goes all in on my right for 155,000. It's about 5 big blinds, and I peel ace 5 suited, thinking that this is not a bad hand to go for. I'm definitely gonna just attempt to knock him out. I isolate and raise it up to 300,000. Everyone else behind me ends up folding, and
Buddy, I got you fucking nutted.
That's how I play. That's how I play. Yeah, let's show the fucking kid. Rampage raised me with ace fucking 5. How's he gonna win with that shit? What the fuck is
give me
going
that.
on here? Oh, you hit pair? I hit the 7 too. Hey, eat a bag of fucking. Yeah, I can't.
the turn gives me the nut flush. Wow. GG's here. D-Negs not the happiest after losing this all in. He's always a good sport and really funny, but yeah, knocking out Daniel Negreanu, and all of a sudden 8 players left, and I have over 2.5 million in chips. How ridiculous is that?
I am standing with the best Asian poker player who also made a final table with me. Update. It's late. We've been playing for 12 hours. I don't know what the fuck just happened. I pulled a him, actually. If you don't know who he is, you should probably figure that out because he's quite good at poker. I pulled a him. I have lots of chips, and I am chip leading, and I am very tired. I have played for 12 hours. My brain is fried. I have never played against everyone who is very, very good, so I'm mentally drained. But there are 8 players left. We are playing till final 6, so hopefully people bust soon, because then I get to go home and show up for day 2 at the final table, and it's going to be on the PokerGo stream, which is sick.
After break, we are playing until there are 6 players left in this tournament. Then let's go through them. We have an all-in, King Queen versus 8s. I'm not involved. And we see that King Queen ends up actually hitting the river and doubling up, leaving the opponent with pocket 8s with only 1 big blind. So still 8-handed. This next deal, we see Jack 9 versus 5 deuce. 5 deuce is the one with 1 big blind, and Jack 9 ends up actually winning. So that opponent loses the flip and loses another one, unfortunately, to now be out in 8th place. Just like that, we're 7-handed. And one of the last final all-ins of this tournament, we have Ace Queen versus Ace 3. With Ace 3 at risk, Ace Queen ends up holding, and we're done for the night. We have now laddered up a few times, winning money by not really getting involved. We're 6-handed, heading onto day 2 of the streamed version of this final table, where the next video you're gonna see, 1 player is going to win it all.
Survived. Holy shit. It's late. I'm gonna show up again here at in 11 hours. So going to go home, of course. I am coming in 2 second-in chips out of 6 players. Everyone's gonna be really good. Foxen, Steven Song, everyone is going to be really good. I'm excited. It's gonna be on live stream on the PokerGo studio, and it'll be on YouTube. So shout out to the people who are gonna watch live. But let's go into this thing. I have 2.15 million chips and locked up. I don't know how much. I gotta look these things up. 180 for first. Thanks so much for watching. This is a very, very exciting tournament vlog. This is what all the pain is for. Hopefully things go well tomorrow. Gonna have to prepare. Gonna have to learn some new stuff. Just run well. That's number 1. Win your all-ins. I've been doing that. Let's just keep doing it. I'm gonna go to bed. See you guys next time. Peace.